Welcome, Greek U Nations, episode number 602 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Eilon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our sixth book just came out. It's called I'm So Beautiful, It's Ridiculous. Unleashing and promoting strength, self-worth, and real sisterhood. So go and pick up that book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, I left the stress of working in New York City and Manhattan many years ago because I saw my blood pressure spike and I knew instinctively that if I didn't make a lifestyle change, then I probably would end up dead from a heart attack. Since moving to Tennessee in 2012, I'm living just outside of Nashville, we've been able to live a much healthier lifestyle in terms of physical fitness, in terms of more time with our family and friends, and much less stress. So, what I want you to do is look at your surroundings. Ask yourself, is this the right place for you? This is why we were all born with legs, right? So, if not, make changes to ensure that your physical health continues for many years to come. You've got a long life to live. And we are going to talk to our next guest about health, nutrition, and reducing stress today. Cindy Wageman is a captivating author, a speaker, and a survivor of multiple sclerosis. She graduated from Light University from the International Christian Counselors Association and is an advanced certified relationship life coach. Cindy is an informative and inspirational speaker who delivers powerful messages on healing, health, and hope. In her new book, it's called Completely Healed. She lays out a plan created to inspire and motivate you to change and develop a lifestyle that is not only attainable, but abundant. She passionately offers hope, empathy, and holistic healing to our world, one survivor at a time. Welcome to the show, Cindy.
Thank you for having me. I love it. I
Well, we
love
love you. We think you have a lot to offer our college students. So I am super excited that you're joining us on this episode today. I want you to take us back to when you were first diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at just 24 years old. What was going through your mind at that time?
What was going through my mind at that time was, oh, what has happened? What is going to happen to me? What's going to happen to I had two little girls, 2 and 3 years old, and what is going to happen to my family? And I was scared to death. I was so afraid of what was going to happen because I was so ill. I couldn't even take care of my children. I could barely walk. And so because of my physical condition, it was a very, very tough time, very tough.
Mm-hmm. You know, many of our listeners, they're college students. They're also facing stress, uncertainty, even health scares like the one that you went through. What
Yeah.
helped you to shift from fear to determination in the early stages of that diagnosis you received?
You know, when you're young and you have things that happen to you that have never happened to you before, that fear comes out and you wonder what's going to happen. And you look around and you think, I don't want to be like that person over there that is sick or this person that's failed. And so, well, I have to tell you a story. When I was, I think I was 4 years old, pretty sure I was 4 years old. My dad brought home a bike with a seatless bike, okay? Bike with no seat. My sister, and when I looked at that bike, I was so excited because I thought I loved wheels. I just loved wheels. And so my sister and I tried to ride that bike. My older sister, she couldn't ride it. My dad said some words that have stuck with me through life. He said, Cindy, you can do anything. And so I've had this determination, feeling like I can do anything in life. And I have found, well, I got on that bike and I rode it right into my grandmother's rose bush. I got back up and I rode it over and over again. And when I did that, I learned to be a good cyclist at a very young age. And I didn't need a seat. I just didn't need a seat. So I've learned through life that you take one step at a time and you go forward and you figure it out. You just figure it out. And so the determination and the fortitude to go forward is something that I would say that we all need to go forward.
Mm, amazing. Your book is called Completely Healed. It actually explores the link between trauma, stress, and autoimmune disease. So, can you explain how stress impacts our physical health, especially for all these college students that are overprogrammed and super busy?
And you know, when you're sick, you don't realize the symptoms that you have because you feel healthy. You feel pretty much overly. You just feel good about life pretty much because because you're young. Um, but when I studied, because I've studied the nervous system, and when you have the parasympathetic and you have the sympathetic, and they balance each other out. And when that gets off balance, then you get sick. You have headaches. You have all kinds of symptoms. And I can see that college students with the stress that's going on, that they could get out of balance very, very easily. And that's what I did. And I had to learn to balance and to get back into that parasympathetic and have the rest that I needed. But it took me some time to learn these things.
hmm Well, you're talking about learning the balance, and so I want to dive in a little bit deeper on
Okay.
that. I'm wondering, how do students regulate their stress responses and build resilience like you did, even if they have limited time or limited resources? Let's be honest.
You know what I learned? I went to it was like a health, um, what would it be? It's called Total Health Foundation. And I learned the 8 laws of health. And that has to do with rest, sleeping at night. That has to do with drinking fresh water every day. That has to do with um, basically taking care of yourself. And when no one else is taking care of yourself, stepping outside of that norm and taking care of yourself to get your body back into balance. And that has to do with eating nutritious food. That has to do with like I said, the rest, the sleep that we need. What are some of the other ones? I've got them written down here, and it might be good to read those.
Yeah.
Um, Exercise, making sure we get the exercise, and sometimes if we exercise outside or whatever, we can get the fresh air that we need. Abstinence. We need abstinence. We need pure water. We need sunlight. We need sunlight every day to build our immune systems and get that vitamin D. And when we have these things, it puts our nervous system back into balance. And we can take a lot. Our bodies can take a lot, especially the young. And if
Mhm.
you do this at a very early age, you will never be sorry about doing that. You will
Yeah.
feel good for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I think you started with an important one, which is getting rest. And all the college students that I run into, they're all
Yes.
exhausted. I mean, just absolutely
Right.
running themselves exhausted all of the time. You can't
Yes.
operate that way where you're always on E. You have to get some sleep. I
You
mean, come
do.
on.
You do. You've got to get sleep. And when you're young, you think you can take it, but
Right.
you can't. Your body will wear down. You can't take it.
Yeah.
It just, you will get headaches. You will get some kind of a response, a red flag that's telling you that something is off.
Yeah. A lot of the people who are listening now, they're involved in a lot of different organizations and they're committed all over the place. A normal listener to this podcast right now is involved in their fraternity or sorority. They have a
Mhm.
part-time job. They are a full-time student. They have
Yes,
families, friends, social life, relationships, all
yes.
of the things. And they're just saying yes to everything, but that can be very dangerous,
Oh,
especially for those people pleasers that are
oh,
out there. So why is learning to say no such an important thing for personal and emotional health?
hey, when I was young, when I was growing up, I grew up in a very strong family with some narcissists in there. I was put in between, and I became the only way I could survive is to be a people pleaser. And it becomes a habit through your life. And it's very hard to change that, but it can be changed because it will save your life. No is a very good word because if you don't say no, what you do is you lose your autonomy. Losing your autonomy is a death sentence. And if you really want to live life to the fullest, you say no and get your life back in balance.
Yeah. Setting those boundaries, I think, are super important, whether that be
Yes.
with
Yes,
friends,
the boundary.
family, all of the things. You got to set those guardrails up so that way you're not being overcommitted. And if you do find yourself with a lot of stress and anxiety because you have a million things going on, it's time to start saying no. Like
Oh,
that's
definitely.
the warning sign.
And if you set up those boundaries when you're young
Yeah.
and you keep those through life, you will notice your mind will change. Your whole different, it'll give you a whole different direction in life
Yeah.
and standing up for yourself and having those boundaries.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
100%. Let's talk a
Mhm.
little bit more about diet. I think this is really important because the other thing that I notice with the college students is they're eating a lot of fast food, and everything is really on the run, on the go. Instead of sitting down and having breakfast with their friends, they're basically grabbing a granola bar out the door. They just woke up and they're heading to class and they need to be in class in 3 minutes. So they grab a granola bar on the way out instead of sitting down and having a nutritious breakfast. So, and I know you adopted a plant-based diet, by the way. So,
Yes.
what role did nutrition play in your recovery journey?
Well, you see, when I was sick and I was on my journey, and because I had to figure all of this out myself because nobody gave me any hope, doctors did not give me any hope at all. I was on my own journey. I met a doctor that was from Weimar Institute, and he told me about epigenetics. He taught me about epigenetics, and he also taught me that when you have a very poor lifestyle, that you damage your genes. And you will pay for that one way or another. You will pay for that. And so I had damaged my genes, and this is what the doctor told me. And he came right up alongside of me and he helped me. And he said, Cindy, don't worry about your disease. He said, choose this lifestyle, this new lifestyle, and it will repair your genes. And then your genes that are there, the expression, the environment that you put your cells in your genes, those genes, those good genes will be expressed, or those bad genes will not be expressed in very simple terms. And he said, I would, and one of those were a nutritious um, diet, a very nutritious, which was fruits and vegetables and not any of your fast foods, fruits and vegetables. So I would recommend to those kids, get out and buy you some grapes, wash you some grapes, take them around if you need them. It takes time for your taste buds to change and to do this, but I'm telling you, you will live a much more abundant life if you take care of yourself and you have a nutritious, very nutritious. I mean, I eat a plant-based diet where I eat a lot of legumes. I eat fruits and vegetables. I eat whole wheat grains. These things, they will repair you. When you're young, you don't know that you need to be repaired because you sometimes if you get enough sleep, you wake up and you feel good. But over a period of time, it does. It will take away from your body if you're not eating a good, nutritious diet.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start. You talked about the grapes. I have them in my fridge at all times, and they have some really great grape varieties now. They have the cotton candy grapes. They got all kinds of stuff out there that is just
Those are
absolutely,
delicious.
they're
Those are candy.
delicious. They're
They are
really,
candy.
really fantastic,
Yes.
and it's a great substitute for candy or
Yes,
or other processed foods.
I agree.
Yeah, so I mean, raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, and grapes. I have a drawer of that at all times at my home, and that becomes the go-to snack. So if you
Yes.
can make that shift from processed foods into healthy fruits, healthy vegetables, it does take some time. Your body has to adjust to this
It
in terms of the
does.
taste.
And your taste.
But all of that being said, once you get into the habit, you're like, oh, okay, I can do this. And I never in a million years thought that I could literally have a salad every single day for lunch and not miss going out or fast food or whatever. But now it's just totally normal and I'm living a
Yeah.
much healthier life. So you can do this.
Yes, right. I agree totally.
Yeah, it is possible. I haven't given up meat completely. I'll still
Uh-huh,
have some meat or fish
uh-huh,
in the evenings, but
uh-huh.
outside of that, that's really the only time
That's great. I'm
that
so
I'm
glad
limited
you
to.
do that.
Yeah, yeah, that's the only time. And my daughter, by the way, is a vegetarian, and she's 18 years old, and she's been a vegetarian since I think she was probably 13, something like that.
Yeah.
So we do have plant-based folks in our midst.
You know, I've noticed that these Gen Z's kids, they
Yeah,
do this. They're very interested.
very
They want to
interested.
know. They want to know about it.
I agree with you. I think Gen Z is
Yeah.
very into health and nutrition, and
Yes.
thank God. I mean, I'm so
Yes.
happy for that.
Yes.
So they're super into that, and so for all the students who are listening right now, I want you to think about that and think about how you can incorporate health and nutrition into your student organization. Because I'm telling you, the college students, this is what they care about. This is what they want. So the question is, how is
Yes.
your student organization promoting better sleep? How is your student organization going into the vending machines on your college campus and taking out all the unhealthy chocolate and sodas and all of the stuff,
Yeah.
getting rid of all of it and replacing it with healthier alternatives? That
Yeah.
is something your student organization can do. And I'm telling you, other college students, they care. They care about that.
Yeah. They do. They care.
They
I agree.
do. Yeah, 100%. So, talking about this, right? Many of our fraternity and sorority members, they are struggling with mental health issues,
Yeah.
burnout. They've had childhood trauma that has not yet been fully,
Mhm.
released
Yeah.
or talked about. So,
Yeah.
how can fraternity and sorority chapters, let's say you're a student organization on a college campus, how
Yeah.
can you create a space that supports the emotional and physical wellness of your members?
Um, you know, um, I have four granddaughters
Mhm.
that are Gen Zers.
Yeah.
And they've either graduated from college or they're in college. And this is what they're very interested in is health. They're very interested in health and what we just talked about.
Mhm.
But this is what they're also very interested in. They're very interested in some people being authentic.
Mhm.
They want truth.
Yeah.
They want truth. And I would encourage anyone that is in part in being a leader in your chapter leaders, being very authentic to these kids and that teach them what they want to know. And I would recommend, and like I was talking about the 8 laws of health, that I would love to see those kids learn some tools so that they can go through life and become better and not worse, their health better and not worse, because it can become even better. Our health can even become better. So I would encourage, and I have seen, I did some research a little bit of your Greek chapters,
Mhm.
your university, and
Mhm.
I can see that you guys are doing a great job of doing all, really working with the kids with what's happening on the campuses. But I would love these kids to learn to, like we talked about earlier, eating grapes, changing their lifestyle, getting the sleep they need, and exercising in the fresh air, getting some fresh air. It will change their lives. And if they can be taught these tools, hopefully they would grab onto them because it takes sometimes a little time to feel better. But when you do finally get that feeling, that good feeling, they grab onto it. And by word of mouth, these kids might change all of this. And I just want to encourage all of them to change it, to change their lifestyles.
Mhm. Well, you talked a little bit about your granddaughters wanting truth, and I agree with that. I think they want that honesty.
They
They don't want to
do.
be lied to. They don't want anything that's artificial. They just tell them the
No.
truth. That's
Yes.
really what they crave and what they want. So that's
Yes.
important. but how do chapter leaders or organizational leaders, how
Yeah.
can they normalize conversations about things that are difficult, things like stress or mental health? How can they normalize those types of conversations when everything that they see around them on social media, on Instagram, everything is perfect, right? Perfect bodies, no stress, living their best lives. How do
Yes.
they normalize conversation about the tough stuff?
All I can say is that whoever is teaching it to them or to gain the curiosity is to be authentic. Is that leader to be so authentic that that kid knows that there is something there that they want to look at and that they want to go towards? Because if that person is authentic and they are either living a good lifestyle or whatever's happening with them, or they see them looking younger for their age or more in shape, that their curiosity will be piqued and maybe they would want to change.
Hmm. We talked about a couple of things. We talked about healthier eating and fruits and
Mhm.
vegetables. We talked about exercising outside. I think that's an excellent, excellent suggestion to get some fresh air. Is there anything else that our listeners should do in terms of living a more vibrant and joy-filled life?
You know what? I would say that, what I would say to these kids, if they can do this, if they can possibly do this, to take care of themselves and to live in the moment as much as they can, not to look too much in the past, not to look too much in the future, but look what they're doing right now. Because I believe that joy is a choice in life. We all have things coming at us, but pick out the joy that you want. And in that moment, be happy. Be happy and choose it. Because I found that this really worked for me. And I'm hoping that other people will grab onto it, because living in that moment and you're not looking at the past or the future, you will zone in on what's going on in your life right at that time.
Hmm. Very important. I
Yeah.
love it. All right. So, Cindy, for all of our listeners who want to read your book, it's called Completely Healed. Maybe they want to learn more about your coaching as well. Where can they go to find you online and get the book?
Okay, I have a website, and you can buy my book on the website, or you can buy it on Amazon. My website is cindywageman.com, and I am on Facebook. I am on Instagram, and I have a YouTube channel. And I'm just encouraging all of you to go, because I raise a big garden and I'm showing on there what I do to garden. And I know Gen Zers are very interested in gardening and nature, natural things.
Yeah.
And I have a big garden and I'm just gathering everything, and I freeze it and I can it. And so come and join me.
I think that's fantastic. Everyone's going to go and check out your YouTube channel and watch you garden. I think
Good.
it's awesome. You're right. I think Gen Z absolutely loves the idea of making their own fruits and vegetables in a garden, and growing all of that stuff naturally. Anything that's going to help them save some money, by the way, too, at the grocery store. I think they're also very interested
Yes,
in
I
that.
agree with that. Oh, they're good kids. I love these kids.
That's what me too. I feel the same way. Anytime I
Great
hear
team.
somebody talking negatively about Gen Z or college students, they'll
Oh,
say stuff like,
oh,
"Oh, they're lazy" and all this other stuff.
oh,
And I'm
no.
like, that's the furthest thing from the truth. If you spend any time with them, like
Yeah.
your granddaughters, if you
Yes.
spend any time with them, you will
Oh,
see they are
yes.
some of the most motivated people you will
Oh,
find
they
on
are.
planet Earth.
They're just trying something a little bit different than their predecessors.
That's right. That's right. So
And it's
don't you?
okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, and that's the thing. Every generation is different, and the reason why they're different is because we've all experienced things as children that have kind of formulated who we are as adults.
Yes.
And so you just need to understand why they are the way that they are. It's because of things that happened when they were kids, and that's all. And nobody's any better or worse than the other. We're just different.
Yeah.
And so you
Love
just need
it.
to learn to appreciate those differences and then figure out how can we all work together for the common good, given our strengths and weaknesses, because we all have strengths and weaknesses. Now, God love Gen Z. I love you all, by the way. But one of the things you're not so good at, you don't have patience. The patience is very, very small, right? So, but God love you because you're into health and nutrition and all the good things, and you want to make this world a better place.
Yes.
But very little on the patience side. So, but same thing is true for every generation. They've got some
Yes.
really good parts and they've got some weak parts, and it's not their fault. It's just the environment they grew up in. That's all.
And I would say that in time, if they learn the patience and they do stepping stones, they will become very rich people in learning to be patient because we really don't have control of anything.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah, we're just doing our best out here.
Yeah,
That's
we're
pretty
just doing
much
our
it.
best.
Oh man, I tell you, well, this has been really a lot of fun, so I really appreciate it. Cindy Wageman, she spells her last name is well, I'll spell the whole name so that way you can look her up online. It's Cindy Cindy, and the last name Wageman, it's spelled Wageman. So go and check her out. You can check her out on Facebook, on Instagram. Go and check out her YouTube channel. Go watch her do her gardening. And Cindy, you're the best. Thank you so much for sharing all of this today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I loved it.
That's my pleasure. And to college student listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation with Cindy, I want you to like it and I want you to share it on social media with all of your friends. Thank you
Yes.
so much for being here, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Bye for now.